Hello, my name's Dave Bignell, and today I'm reviewing House of the Dead Overkill. And just to say, if you're of a nervous disposition or are easily offended, this is not a game for you. Now then, Sega, who gave you the nice cuddly Sonic the Hedgehog, have obviously thought, well, the Wii console, it's a family-friendly sort of console. We're going to do something that's completely not family-friendly. So they came up with this, House of the Dead, obviously in the same vein of the House of the Dead Part 2 and 3, straight from the arcade. They have designed this specifically for the Wii. Now, this game is your sort of average rail shooter shooting type of game. It's done in a very tongue-in-cheek B-movie style. It kind of reminds me of like a Tarantino sort of film. And it has the main characters of G and Isaac Washington. Now then, the whole of the cutscenes in this are I find them hilarious. Some people will find them deeply offensive and stupid. I think they're done in such a way that it's taking the mickey out of itself. Depends on the way in which you look at it, but I think it's definitely doing that, especially as they've deliberately used B-movie style names for each level, and the characters are just so outrageous that it's gotta be funny. That's my opinion. Now, this game did get into the Guinness Book of Records for the most uses of the F-word in any game. It uses 189 F-words throughout the game, and Guinness Book of Records have worked that out to be 1 per minute at least, and they have titled it the most profane video game in history. Now, the main difference you'll see here with House of the Dead Part 2 and 3 and House of the Dead Overkill is, of course, the improved graphics and audio on here. Now, of course, House of the Dead Part 2 and 3 were taken straight from the arcade and re-rendered for the Wii, and House of the Dead Overkill is made specifically for the Wii, so they've optimized it, to work on the Wii with its graphics and sound and all that kind of joy. Now, the controls are pretty much exactly the same as House of the Dead Part 2 and 3. You point at the screen with the Wii remote, or you can use the very good Wii Zapper, which I find helps very much, particularly in this game, and you point and shoot. But there's also some other things in here as well. You can pick different weapons. Now, throughout the game, you earn points, which are converted into money, and you can go to a gun shop and buy different guns, lots of different ones. My personal favourite is still the shotgun on there. It's the second weapon you can buy. It's good fun, blows up characters very easily. So that's good. There's also grenades that you can pick up in the level, and you press a button, depending on if you're using the Wii Zapper or the Wii Remote. You press a button and it fires a grenade, blows up a whole horde of zombies that may be coming towards you. So that's also a nice little feature. There's some other specific Wii controls as well in there, like there's one thing where certain zombies can grab you and you have to shake the Wii Remote to get them off you, and you smack them around the face, which is always nice. So some nice Wii-specific controls there. Nice. Now, when you first start up the game, you go into story mode and you play each level in story mode, which is different levels cut between cutscenes, little scenes with G and Isaac Washington and occasional weird other characters that appear, and of course the actual levels where you go around shooting zombies, which is great fun. Now, I read in one review that they said that the storyline was completely unbelievable, completely ridiculous. Well, that's the point. It's so silly. I mean, in House of the Dead Part 2 and 3, the cutscenes were terrible, I thought. Terrible voice acting, terrible. And the worst thing is it took itself very seriously. They were like, this is such a true storyline. In House of the Dead Overkill, they're like, yeah, we know it's stupid. And they send it up completely. I mean, how else would you explain that in one of the cutscenes they end up in an ice cream van talking about country and western music? That's not taking itself seriously. That's just silliness, which is great. I enjoy that. I mean, there are a couple of bits later on in the game where you think, oh, this is quite disgusting, but it's still, in that kind of area of crazy comedy sort of way. It's not something you want to show people that are maybe sensitive to these things and easily offended. And that's why the game carries a certificate, folks. Don't buy it for your small kids and then think, oh, no, it's terrible, it's awful. Well, that's why it's got a certificate on the game. You silly people. But anyway, I digress. Anyway, when you're playing the shooty-mody things, there are lots of little icons, little things you can pick up in the game. For instance, grenades, as I've spoken about. You can also shoot these little gold brains. You have to collect them through the levels. The more you collect, the more points you get. And there's also a little green sort of spiky thing. If you shoot that, the game then is in slow motion for about a minute, I think. Your cursor still moves at the same speed, but all the action is in slow motion, giving you time to get some perfect shots and some perfect slow motion zombie killing action. I love that feature. Bit disgusting, but it's really helpful when you've got loads of zombies coming towards you, just to slow them down a second and just pick them off. Now, as with House of the Dead Part 2 and 3, the main game on here you can play as either one player, just you on your own shooting away, or two players at the same time. Two players at the same time is very, very helpful, particularly on the hard levels, because one of you can concentrate on certain areas of the screen and the other one on others, kind of thing. Now, something else which is really nice, and I think this did happen in House of the Dead 2 or 3, but it works a lot better in House of the Dead Overkill, is you can get combos, so multiple kills, multiple shootings of zombies get you more points, and multiple combos. In two-player mode, it is harder to do that, because you could be shooting at the same target twice, one of you hits it, and then that zombie dies, while the other one hits it and misses, if that makes sense. So it's harder to collect your combos in two-player, but it does make the game slightly easier in, more complicated levels with lots of zombies coming towards you. Now, once you've completed story mode, you unlock Director's Cut, which, as you would expect from that title, are extended versions of each level with different rails that you follow, and they're much longer and much, much harder. Now, what I find particularly difficult about the Director's Cut is that through story mode, you buy weapons, you get pretty good at it, that kind of thing, and then in Director's Cut you start all the way again from the beginning with your normal pistol gun type thing, so you have to work your way all through and collect all your money all again from scratch, and they're a lot harder and a lot difficult, particularly the first level, again, after sort of getting used to being quite good at, the other levels in story mode. Really does help to have two players initially on that level, I must say. Now again, as with House of the Dead 2 and 3, at the end of each level you have a boss to try and defeat, and they each have their weak points. Now, I do find that the bosses on House of the Dead Overkill are, I don't know if they're necessarily easy, but they're quite straightforward to kill them. You don't have to do too many complicated things. It's quite obvious what you have to do, and you just have to progress, work your way through and do it. Particularly the very last boss in story mode, the Mother. It's really easy to kill. I mean, I don't know about you, I don't know if I was just lucky with it, but I was sort of expecting the last boss of the game to be the hardest thing ever, and it really wasn't. It was one of the easiest ones, but hey, there you go. Now, House of the Dead Overkill does have a couple of technical glitches, unfortunately. I mean, they're not so bad that you would find the game unplayable. They're only quite minor. But one of them I do notice is sometimes the game does sort of jutter around a little bit. Now, it does have a kind of B-movie feel, and it does sort of fit in with that, but it's not meant to happen in the game itself. What happens is obviously the game controls your movement. You don't have to move yourself around or anything like that, hence it being a rail shooter. But sometimes when you turn a corner, it can be a bit juttery, and sometimes it can cause you to, maybe miss a zombie or anything like that. It can sort of jutter around the screen a little bit. It's not terrible, but it does happen a couple of times, and it just makes it a little less smooth on the movement. But it's okay, we can live with Another addition to this game are a few little mini-games where you can play on some of them with up to 4 players at the same time. My particular favourite is the one showing right now, which is just targets going across. This one, a happy little game there, no killing, just something nice to practice your aim and earn a couple of combo points. So that's a nice little touch they've put in the game there. In conclusion, on the plus side, I think this game is a lot of fun. House of the Dead Part 2 and 3 could get a bit boring after a while because you're kind of doing the same actions. I think this game is interesting enough, and there's enough different little types of levels to keep you interested, and lots of different villains and zombies and stuff that do different things that just keep you interested. Also, the addition of buying different guns is a great thing for a shooting game, and I also particularly love the mode where you shoot a little green thing and everything goes in slow motion, which is called Slow Mofo mode. I think that's a great little addition to it, and it just makes this kind of game a lot of fun. On the negative side, like I say, there are a couple of minor technical glitches which could get on the nerves of some people. It's a shame they couldn't have just ironed them out a bit at the Sega Workshop or wherever it was made. And the swear words in the game as well could put quite a lot of people off the game. But then I think if people are offended by swear words, they probably wouldn't like the whole killing aspect of it either. I do think, though, the fact that you're actually holding something that resembles a gun shooting at the screen wouldn't be advised for certain people with maybe, a few little brain issues there going on. I mean, for me, as far as I'm aware, I'm totally secure. You know, I'm not going to go out and kill people. I think I'm fine to play it, if you know what I mean. I think you know what avenue I'm going down here, but for some people who are maybe a little bit teetering on the edge of craziness there, this isn't the best game for them, and definitely wouldn't recommend this to young children. But again, that's why they put a certificate on the game. It's stupid. People go, you know, people moaning, say, oh, this is not suitable, my little boy plays this. It's like, well, don't give him the game then, it's got a certificate on it. Urgh. It's obvious, but anyway, that's an aside there. But yeah, obviously there are a few sort of cutscenes later on as well that are a little bit on the sort of, this is quite disgusting side, but if you've got a good state of mind, crazy sense of humour, I think you'll be fine with it. Overall, I give this game a 9 out of 10. Finally, a little advert from me. If you've enjoyed my reviews and want to see some more things that I do, visit my website, www.davebignell.co.uk, and that's Bignell. Yeah,